Good evening, everybody, and I apologize, I don't speak Italian, so I'll have to make my talk in English. French. I miss the technical vocabulary in French even, so it would be even worse. So I'm very grateful actually to be invited here. I've seen a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of good ideas and great vision that I fully share, and I'm very grateful for a second reason is that the weather here is much better than in Zurich. You know, when I left this morning, it was -5, and that was pretty cool for the feet. So I'd like to tell a couple of words on some of the work we do in IBM, and you know, we can speak about health, medication, and a lot. I mean, personalized medicine. I'm completely convinced that diagnostics have a very important role to play. You want to use big data, new drugs, you need to really make sure you understand what is the problem that a patient has. So diagnostics is a very important area. It's actually booming right now. And so this is something we pursue in our one of the research lab of IBM. So we are nearby the lake. We are actually on a small hill in Ruchlikon. We are about 400 people there, and there's a very nice nanotech center recently built where we can fabricate a lot of micro-technological components. Zurich is on this way. The highway to go skiing or to Milano is on this side. We don't see it, but there's a chocolate factory down there, 500 meters away, and it's fabulous because when we have very good, talented candidates, and they come and they smell the chocolate, they sign the contract. They come and work with us. That's our trick. So we have a couple of areas. We work on microfluidics for mobile health. I'll say a couple of words on that. We are also, we have developed a scanning station that can look and track tumor cells, rare cells in biopsy samples, in tissue sections, for analyzing very precisely tumors in patients. And something that we do actually, we do that with BrainDetect and Fabio Bianco for more than 6 years, is something we call microfluidics for cell research. So I'll speak a little bit about this as well. What is very important in our approach is that we are a multidisciplinary team. So we have a lot of knowledge, and I mean, obviously you can expect that from people working at IBM on electrical engineering. We have a little bit on biochemistry. I mean, I'm the biochemist of the group. And we also know about crunching equations, the physics of liquids at the microscale, making gadgets, building. We love to fabricate stuff. Now, when we have a medical question, I call my dictionary. So that's Fabio. You know, he has answers. I call it. He was there and inventing before Siri, so it's very convenient for me. I just pick the phone and I have answers to things I do not understand on biology. But the jokes aside, it is very important to be able to work with open-minded people across disciplines, because I think this can make a big difference. So one of the things we do in my project there in Zurich is actually to try to pack the power of big clinical analyzers in very small, fast, portable diagnostics that are simple to use. Now, we did not invent this concept. You have a lot, you have hundreds of millions of rapid diagnostic tests used worldwide, for example, for detecting HIV, malaria, and a number of diseases. The problem is that those tests tend to be very imprecise. 30% of the time, they are not giving a very good answer, and they are heavily counterfeited. So by using technology, we make microfluidic structures in silicone, and we can put a very small droplet of blood or of liquid, urine, saliva, and we can perform an analysis, and we have reagents integrated on the chip. And we really use a powerful concept which is based on capillary forces. We don't have to push the liquid using pumps or have very power and a lot of complicated mechanisms. We just use capillary forces, and I'll show a video about that. We work very hard on integrating reagents, and we make those diagnostic chips connected to mobile phones so that we can generate data that can feed into the cloud, go back to the doctor, family members, and things like this. And of course, we add security features to prevent essentially drug cartels to counterfeit diagnostics. So don't worry, I'm not going to torture you with the physics, but the basic is thinking. You know, what do we want to achieve when we want to make a diagnostics, when we want to capture a particular analyte in a sample? We map the equations, how much and how fast and how much volume we need to push in a system, in a diagnostic system, and then we think about what's going to be the design, how do we put the different elements, like a pad where we can load the sample, a capillary pump that pulls it, an area where we can detect the analyte we look for, and so on and so forth. So we map the physical properties, characteristics of the device, and then we go to the clean room and fabricate the microfluidic chips. To be honest, 95% of the time we skip the equations, we just rush and fabricate. Because we have actually acquired a lot of expertise and experience, and most of the time it works, and we should just try quickly to make things work, even if sometimes we fail. When we fail, we go back to the equations, and then we revise our ideas, and we refabricate another batch. So this is a video, you know, just to illustrate the precision with which we can manipulate a very small volume of liquid in a microfluidic device. So that's a real-time video where we are moving a liquid in microchannels that are fabricated in silicone. And the width of this channel is about the diameter of a human hair. It's about 50 micrometers only. And we can split the liquid, we can slow it down. You see, we work with flow rates of the order of a nanoliter per second. That's very small. So if you give me a droplet of blood, I can easily give 10 minutes or 20 minutes of time for performing the diagnostics. We can split the liquid, we can get it flowing on different areas and combine it whenever we need. So in this particular chip, we were interested in doing 4 different tests, so immunoassays in parallel. We can do a test on one area, on another, on etc. We can have a positive control, a negative control, in order to increase the accuracy of the test. And then to make sure that a large enough volume of sample is flowing over receptors, we have what we call capillary pumps that pull very steadily sample across the microfluidic chip. Now, since the beginning of the video, we moved in the chip only 60 nanoliters of volume. I mean, this is 1,000th time smaller than the volume of a teardrop, for example. So this is precision. This is real precision in using samples and manipulating them to do miniaturized diagnostics. So I was very happy working on that for a number of years, until once I got the visit of Fabio to Zurich, and he actually convinced me that we were missing some important applications. I'm biased on immunoassays, that's what I've studied in biochemistry, but actually there's a lot of interesting problems sorry, dealing with cells, microvesicles, where microfluidic systems and microfabricated miniaturized devices can help. So if you have a microfluidic device, you can actually integrate cells and do very precise observation on the cells, stimulation, try understanding how they work, what do they release, if they release microvesicles, what do they contain, what RNA fingerprint do they have inside. So you also don't need a lot of cells and a lot of samples. But there are a number of difficulties, challenges, because obviously you really have to find a way to bring your cells inside the microfluidic systems. You need to use, for example, transparent materials if you want to use optical microscopes to see signals inside. You also have to make sure that your materials are compatible with cells, otherwise you are going to make disastrous and the cells won't last for more than maybe 10 minutes. So, and that's something we started to work on with Fabio for a number of years. We've published a number of papers actually on this topic, and we raised a lot of experience. I'll just show you quickly a couple of microfluidic devices we made. Fabio has a couple in his lab. So in this example, We have a microfluidic chip where we can put a solution containing cells, and then we can grow the cells, stimulate them in different ways. And when we want to do experiments with particular liquids, we place that on the bottom of this holder. We put a lid, so the solution with cells is contained there. We can close the chip with lids and put some tubings and start pumping liquids to do experiments. And we've done many different versions. So that's another example of a microfluidic chip for studying neurons and how they communicate with other types of cells. Now, we also like to joke, and so those are the cell chambers where we can put the cells and do the experiments, but you can guess that the shape of this microfluidic design looks like a cow. So we like very much to put also a little bit of artistic and joke ideas in the work we do. So, something we try always to do is to work with, let's say, Lego blocks. Each time there's a new problem, we don't want to reinvent and redevelop the technology from scratch. So we try to generate a library of microfluidic functional elements. And when we need to solve a problem, we try to assort those elements into a functional chips so that we can really rely on prior investments. And so those are examples of microfluidic functional elements. And this is actually the lithographic mask. So this is a layout that we print on a chromium layer on quartz. And that's what we need to use to perform photolithography in our clean rooms. And that's the mask actually of the chips that Fabio will get next week for our project on extracting microvesicles and analyzing them. So I have to leave them with the surprise of guessing what are some of the functions there. So with this, I would like to conclude, and I think it's very important, to be motivated and to have the drive. We need to work in a great infrastructure, but the team is fundamental. Having talented people is extremely important. That has been said over and over in the previous presentations. I think this is fundamental. All the work we've done is really going back to the credit of the people. So Martina, for example, a student, she got a one-page interview in Nature. Luc Gervais is been over and over in newspapers. We've been also, our work has been very, very well covered, for instance, in Italian newspapers. And if I was not able to convince you that we really know our business of making very precise diagnostic structures and microfluidics that can move liquids very accurately, we've made a video, and that's actually the smallest liquid watch of the world. I mean, we are good in Switzerland for chocolate and watches. So this is a watch that is a few microns in size, and we can feel it just based on capillary forces, second per second. The only problem is the watch works for only 1 minute and then it's over. So, and you have an image of the watch over there. So yes, okay. So that's my last slide, and I would like to thank all the team, Fabio for many years of great interactions, and you for your attention. Thank you.